Limeslug.pro.
Shut up. Hello, welcome to So We're Watching That Right, a podcast where two lesbians bully each other for having the same taste in anime. I'm Becky, scientifically certified best girl.
And I'm Val, everyone's favorite horror protagonist.
It's time for first impressions of over 40 different shows, and we're going to try to do it in under an hour. So some of this is going to be very quick. We're going to start by running through a bunch of stuff that we watched like one or two episodes of and then dropped for various reasons, mostly for just kind of not having the juice. Though I am an Inept Villainess, which has some very long subtitle about being a rat and a butterfly and stuff that sounded really promising. Like, it might be good, but I've seen Apothecary Diaries, and it clearly wants so badly to be the Apothecary Diaries that, like, I don't know if I trust it to go anywhere from there. The Duke's son claims he won't love me, but shares me with Adoration. Like, the scenario has potential, but there just wasn't enough to make the Duke interesting once he turned mean. The Ogre's Bride really is like downstream of Anne Rice via like Buffy and Twilight and all that whole romantasy thing in ways that
When we watched the first episode of The Ogre's Bride, we got like 3 minutes in, and then you were just like, well, I hope it gets to the point soon. And then we watched like 3 more minutes, and you were like, skip ahead. Skip ahead in the episode.
God, I'd forgotten we skipped ahead in that one.
It was just beating the premise of this girl is abused, and she's going to get picked up by her fancy new husband, who's powerful and going to solve all her problems for her in exchange for being extremely possessive.
Yes, and then the fancy new husband showed up, and it was like, this guy has nothing going on yet, and yet is acting as if he's the dramatic center of the universe. Like, if you like this vein of romantasy, good for you. I don't like it, especially with it when it's this gender dynamic. Yeah, it also, like, it clearly feels like it's going to go into Yan fantasy in a pretty big way. And, not our thing. Yep. In brighter news, there's The Cat and the Dragon, which, like, this was lovely, but every episode felt like a complete anime. It's really telling that you've noted when the light novel it was based on was running, and it went for 2 years total and then came back. Yes. Which is just like, this makes sense. It feels like you have an idea for a tabletop supplement that you have little stories you want to tell in. I cannot understand how you make a full novel out of this, even. Like, it felt like a four-coma. You know, we've watched several shows that are adaptations of four-coma comics, and this had that kind of energy. It's delightful. It's genuinely lovely. It's just not an anime series. It's also, like, if this was a different season, we would have given this more time, I think. Yes. Or this would have coasted in a season with less turbulence, but we have so many fucking shows. Yeah. Help. Yeah. God. Then there's The Frontier Lord Begins with Zero Subjects, which we did watch like 3 episodes of. And there is some real fun stuff here. Like, one of the things the guy gets is a pair of sheep, and there's a whole lot of stuff about how invested he is in getting the sheep to, like, breed properly. And not in a weird way, like... not in a weird way. In a, like, this is a guy who understands he needs to do his agriculture well and cares about the animals in his charge. It's more like he is retired from the military and realized animal husbandry is a perfectly fine hobby that he also has to do for his new domain. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is just a guy retiring to do farming as a hobby. And then the child bride shows up, which is the bigger issue with the show. Yeah, the issue with the show is that he meets this girl child and then he kills a monster in front of her, and her culture are all like, well, if you kill a monster, you're the most desirable man, and he's extremely desirable, and she's like 15 or something, and she decides she's engaged to him. And he is 35. Yeah. For the record, it's not a tolerable age gap. No, thank you. Yes. It's just like, ugh. This was so unnecessary, and it spoils the whole thing. Then there's Chainsmoker Cat, which is exactly what it promised to be, but my god, is there too much, like, poop and other bodily fluids humor for me to be able to comfortably watch it, which is kind of a shame because I think the vibe would be good and somebody's clearly putting an alarming amount of effort into the animation for a show that's that much about poop. Go figure.
Go with God.
I don't think they do, actually.
I mean, go find God and then go with God.
So The World is Dancing is interesting. I watched 2 or 3 episodes of this, and there's definitely an interesting show here, and it is telling this dramatized history of, I think, a real historical figure, but also the first arc is this kid who is supposed to be training in traditional dance. He gets lost in the forest and he finds a shack where there is this clearly like dying woman, and she performs a dance in her like misery, and she's not performing for him, she doesn't know he's there, and he watches this and it's like, oh, that is the magic of performance that I've wanted to experience. And then he like tries to learn from her, and eventually his dad like pays her for teaching his son, and then she's happy and she can't dance as well anymore, so he gets mad and then she dies. And it's like, I don't want to watch a story that's doing that, because it does also establish that she's a sex worker, or maybe even basically a sex slave. She's being sexually exploited in a fairly serious way. And it's a shame because the way that the animation works in the show and the way that it swings for the fences on animating her dance is incredible. Like, it just, you know, she starts out within the usual visual language of the show dancing, and as she dances it sort of mangles and mutates, and it slowly becomes something more like a traditional Japanese ink painting. Just an incredible bit of visual inventiveness, sadly tarnished by the story being gross about this poor sex worker. At the other end of the spectrum is Perfect Addiction, which is 5-minute episodes on Ocean Vale. It is the least pornographic Ocean Vale show I've seen, and indeed is basically like, visually it's just a gacha game story segment. I only watched 1 episode, but it's like live 2D semi-animated faces talking, and that's it.
Fascinating.
Flipping back in the opposite direction.
The Exiled Heavy Knight knows how to game the system, an isekai series that I have been interested in reading, and I may still read, but it's Gohans. They are Gohansing all over the place, and they can't stop putting all their grubby Gohans on all of the things, and it just never stops. And I stopped after 1 episode because I could not take that again. I have tried to watch shows. I did show you, and it's so much.
You had to show me to communicate just how Gohans it was, because like, we love Seitokai Yakuindoma, which was a Gohan show, but it is a considerably tamer Gohan's show than this one. I
want them to go back to finishing adapting the rest of Seitokai Yakuindoma so we can have them out of the rest of the industry for a couple more seasons. Please, God.
Yeah. As you once put it, I wish they'd stop hands.
Yeah.
Then there are a few shows which we, under other circumstances, we would definitely, one or other of us at least, would definitely have watched these. So there's Red River, which is based on a 1995 manga, and it does show basically early isekai. And this, like, my other girlfriend Tara loves this manga and highly recommended it. We watched 1 episode, and it is this weird thing of a Japanese fantasy author using like the medieval Middle East as an alternate world with magic and fantasy shit, which is always a bit iffy. So we haven't been carried on watching that. I also watched an episode of Jaadugar, A Witch in Mongolia, which in some ways is similar, although it's much more recent. It's 2021 onwards, the manga. And apparently this one is much better researched. But I don't know if you remember, maybe a couple of years ago, there was a video essay that did the rounds that was like, here's how all the sounds of like, quote-unquote, Oriental music are like an incoherent mess.
I don't think I saw that, no.
But yeah, there's a video essay about like, when you watch a Western film and it's set in the Middle East, you will hear the sounds of these instruments, and here's where they're actually from, and they have nothing to do with each other, and so on. And I couldn't convince myself that there wasn't an element of that going on with Jaadugar. And the scenario didn't really grab me. You know, lots of people have watched a bit further into it than I have and have been really impressed, which is fine, but in such a busy season, I'm not going to pursue it. Other people will talk about it and whatever's good or bad about it. Then there's Thunder 3, which we watched 1 episode of, and the gimmick here is that some kids from a world that is very much the visual style of a kids manga, like a classic old school kids manga, stray or get spirited away into a much more what we would think of as photoreal world. And the visuals were actually really cool for how they did that. And I do think that maybe if this had been earlier in the list of shows that we looked at and had started earlier,
and also maybe wasn't on Netflix,
we might well have stuck with this one. Although, again, the characters didn't super grab me. Then there's Grow Up Show Sunflower Circus, which I watched a couple episodes of. And, this is so borderline. I might even go back to this. It's an anime original. It feels a bit Turkey Time to Strike in terms of having that kind of here are some cute girls doing a thing vibe. And it has a lot of good energy. It's very gay. And the thing about trapeze artists is they do have to at least hold hands a bunch. The two things that have held me back from it. One is that we're also watching I Want to Love You to Your Dying Day. More on that later this season. And this show doesn't have it as much as I Want to Love You to Your Dying Day does. The other is that the main character is introduced and she is sort of basically tricked into joining this circus, the Sunflower Circus, by her father figure, who's a deadbeat. And she is a circus prodigy who was raised in the circus, and she really hates the circus, and it is not at all clear exactly why. Obviously, there's lots of stuff going on to explain, her dad clearly is a twat, and he's a circus performer. But the way in which she is resistant to participating in the circus versus the participation in the circus that she's just didn't quite click for me. But again, I might well go back to it if I see sufficiently gay clips.
Yep. Good luck, I guess.
Then there are a couple of shows which really disappointed us, which looked like they would be up our alley to one degree or another, and so first of those,
the first one, Livid Lady's Guide to Getting Even, secondary subtitle that we're not going to bother remembering, started off kind of interesting, and it felt like it was going to ramp up to something, and then episode 3 just had the worst turn and the worst morality a show like this has had.
It really did. Yeah.
In so long. It's so bad.
I mean, this is a revenge fantasy story in the vein of May I Ask for One Final Thing, that kind of deal. There's this noble lady. She's in a good situation. She is cast down by malice, etc., and she swears to get revenge. The moment where she swears revenge is great. She's in prison. She's been put in prison where they're still having her do all the kingdom's paperwork because she's the only competent person. And her maid comes to deliver her information and explain what's being done to all the stuff she set up, and she just punches the wall and it shatters. So it had a very promising start, and then in the most recent episode, they're in a cart on the way to the capital of the neighboring nation. They get attacked by bandits, and the heroine gets out the cart and murders all the bandits and explains to the tiny child that she's kind of adopted, basically. Bandits are subhuman and you should exterminate them, which is bad enough. That's already I don't like that. Then she gets back in the cart and they pick up a hitchhiker, and there's a discourse for 5 minutes where they go through here's how neglectful and exploitative aristocrats create the economic conditions in which banditry emerges. And it's the same character giving this explanation. And then they get attacked by bandits again, and the heroine and the hitchhiker get out of the cart to fight the bandits. And the heroine is like, well, maybe I shouldn't kill the bandits this time because this hitchhiker is a nun and will not like me murdering them. So she subdues all the bandits bloodlessly, and then the nun has murdered all the other bandits and starts beating the unconscious ones that she subdued to death, insisting that they are evil and must be destroyed. And it's
not only that, but specifically the bandit literally begs for his life, going, doesn't your church believe in forgiveness? And she goes, well, that rule only applies to humans, and you're a bandit, which is subhuman.
Yes. And it's
no, thank you.
That is pure cop fascist shit.
Yeah.
We are not here for it. We support women's wrongs, but we are anti-cop.
Yup.
So yeah, that one really turned our stomachs. Then there is Love Unseen Below the Clear Night Sky, Beneath the Clear Night Sky, whatever it is. Beneath, okay. Which is, a college student meets a blind woman and they fall in love, is the basic conceit here. The problem with this one is that fundamentally, structurally, this anime is a a disaffected, disconnected boy meets a quirky girl and she rejuvenates his life. And like, blind people are not a manic pixie dream girl fantasy. And having seen The Invisible Man and His soon-to-be wife a couple of seasons ago, like, you can tell a good story about a blind woman having a romance, and this ain't it.
Yeah, there is like, it very much feels like a tourist kind of bit of behavior from a seeing person's perspective.
Yes, it's all about like this boy being constantly surprised that a blind person could be a person. And it's like, we can do better than this. This is a known problem in like media about disabled people by non-disabled people.
Yeah. It's one thing to have a character who is like processing the ways that they don't think about the world and how they interact with it in interacting with someone who isn't able to interact with the world in those ways. But that's the entire bit of character interaction between these two people. And it feels like, as much as he is realizing that she is also a person, the author does not feel like she is.
Yes.
So it's just kind of a miss. I will see if the light novel is any better. I know it will at least be more brief because I won't have to wait for it to air every week because it's like 2 volumes. But yeah.
Yeah. The actual, like, when it is just doing rom-com stuff, it's fine. The moment it does anything about her blindness, it's like, this is gross. So that's all the things that we have dropped, I think. On to the shows that we're sticking with. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You, Season 3 is exactly what it's promised. It's more of the same. I think, so the first girl is Rentaro's young cousin. And, you know, there's some uncomfortable, like, family stuff around that, right? But I think this show is at its core an anthology of tropes. It's like, here is the dictionary of Japanese rom-com tropes. And it works because it is about how a sufficiently good boy can be appealing in any trope. But the price of admission to that is sometimes you have to deal with it doing the tropes that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. And like, putting Rentaro in the Parawiggler with 100 girls is like the thing. That's all there is to it. And once you get the Parawiggler going and they start bouncing off each other, it's fun.
Yeah.
But there is kind of like, yeah, now he's dating his middle school cousin, which is not great. And now he's dating his teacher, which is definitely an abuse of power.
To say nothing of the mother of one of his other girlfriends.
Yeah, like, I knew this show was going to be a lot, like I posted on Blue Sky, when season 1 ended with him getting together with one of his first 2 girlfriends' mother after confronting the ghost of her first love who died at 13 but left her a sperm donation so that she could have a daughter. Like, that's how season 1 ended. I knew this show was going to be a lot, but you just kind of have to sit back and go, Jesus fucking Christ.
Particularly when Nadia is introduced.
Oh my god, it's so funny though. She's so fucking awful in the best way.
Like, their regular Japanese teacher is off sick or wins the lottery or something, and they get this new teacher who comes in and she's dressed as a cowgirl and she introduces herself as Nadi and she speaks like the most egregious Japanglish.
Yeah.
The VA was clearly having a great time.
Yeah, I feel like Kokokiryu would fucking kill this woman in single combat.
Yes. Yeah, affectionate. And it is eventually revealed that her actual name is Yamato Nadeshiko, which obviously is this term for like the ideal Japanese woman. And she was raised in an extremely traditional rich family. And her like act of rebellious self-definition is to be a cowgirl and speak English a lot.
And dye her hair blonde.
Dye her hair blonde, date her student, and then insist on a dress-up session for every single one of his girlfriends.
Yo.
Which was feral. God, this show's a lot.
It's so much forever.
Then there is You and I Polar Opposites Season 2, which is just ongoing delight, more of the same. I kind of don't feel like I've got much to say about it, except that one of the things that's nice about this is that the main couple get together at the start, and it's about them figuring out how to be together, not how to get together. And a thing happens where when they're at school and when they're kind of hanging out with all their friends, Suzuki is like Agyaru is very like extravagant in how she dresses. When they make time to spend time alone together, they dress like the most kind of middle-aged, comfy couple.
They dress like the Flanders from The Simpsons. It's just like...
They're so mom and dad coded. Yeah. It's adorable.
They dress extremely suburban parents. It's just like, we don't have to show off. We want to chill.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. And the other two couples are bubbling away nicely, and clearly more stuff is going to happen there, and I'm looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. Then there is Rich Girl Caretaker, where there's this boy who has been taken advantage of and ditched by his parents in a very Iruma Suzuki way. And as he is basically becoming homeless, he encounters this girl, doesn't actually save her from being kidnapped, but gets kidnapped alongside of her. She imprints on him, and that gets him basically adopted into her incredibly rich family to take care of her because she is hopeless. Mm-hmm. And, you know, mostly it's just goofy fun. There's a maid who is incredibly menacing.
I think it's easy to menace you, is the problem.
It's easy to menace poor Itsuki.
I mean, yeah, boy has not been fed well enough to have grown a spine.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, he gets sent to the rich school alongside this girl and then immediately starts attracting other women as well. You know, it's good classic rom-com bullshit. But also there is because he's from a working class background and the school has both like old big money families and newer money less rich families have their kids there. So there's already like a class thing that some of the students are very conscious of. And then there's a whole other thing for Itsuki as well. So at one point they ask him what are the traditions of a working class school, and he teaches them the 3-second rule.
Yep.
Which is, oh god.
The funny thing is it's not even like the real 3-second rule.
Yes.
It's not like he drops the food on the floor, he drops it on the table.
And he acts like it's almost like tossing a coin almost.
Yep. It's so weird.
Yeah. Then there is Oh Boy Was I Wrong About Her.
Yep.
In which a boy moves to Tokyo and reunites with his childhood friend who he thought was a boy and who turns out to be a girl. And shenanigans ensue, and that's good. I mean, the thing I wanted to say about this show is that although, yes, it's a goofy scenario, all the characters have some deeper drama going on. So Hayato, our hero, his mum is in the hospital having just had a fairly major surgery. There's something with his dad, which might just be that his dad's very busy with work.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And like they also moved to the city so that they could be nearer their mom, mm-hmm. who is, recovering from a major surgery for a while.
Yeah. Then there is Haruki, the childhood friend girl, who seems very bright and happy, is very popular at school, is kind of a gremlin at home, but also is living alone and not taking very good care of herself.
Mm-hmm. Her parents are working endlessly and sending money home, but not really.
Yeah.
Being a family.
Mm. And even the other girl that's been introduced so far, Minamo, she's got a granddad in the hospital because she meets Hayato at the hospital when she's visiting. We were just introduced to another girl, lives in the country where Hayato and Haruki both originally lived.
Yeah. And she's mostly Himeko's friend, which is Haruki's little sister.
Yes.
And she is mad at finding out that their friend Haru was a girl instead because she has a crush on the main character. I don't know why you thought it was a bit of lesbian panic for fucking...
I thought she had a crush on Haruki and was lesbian panicking because she'd found out that the person she had a crush on was a girl.
No.
Okay.
The one who is having a problem with that is fucking Himeko. That's a spoiler for later.
Okay, so there is going to be some lesbian panic.
Yeah, she has to process that, I thought she was a boy. Oh, she was my first crush. Oh, well.
Speaking of lesbian panic, there is GGWP Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games, the lesson of which is don't grind rank online in games. It'll just make you miserable and burn you out. Mm-hmm. Instead, you should sneak around your dorm at posh private school for girls and jump out of a ground floor window without opening it first when you are almost caught. That is a thing that happens at the end of the first episode. They just smash their way out of a ground floor window.
It's the main character. It's Aya.
Aya is the one leading the way. Yes, she is kind of a thing. And then also later they are sneaking to a room in the dorm in the middle of the night to play fighting games together, and they get caught by one of the dorm monitors who turns out to play fighting games, and then they get caught by the head dorm monitor who turns out to also play fighting games but be a scrub. And she gets banished to labbing combos for a week.
Yup.
It's good. It's so gay. I was not expecting it to be as gay as it is, but it is very, very gay. Smoking back in the supermarket with you, in which a salaryman has a crush on the cashier at his local supermarket and then meets her in non-service worker emotional labor mode as a smoking buddy, and 3 episodes in has not connected the two, even though he's seen them looking exactly alike up real close, and they keep talking about knowing exactly what. It's great. I can't wait for the shoe to drop.
If it ever does, it might never drop.
True. I hope it does.
That might be the bit.
That might be the bit. Then there's Hanaori-san still wants to fight in the next life, which is great fun. Incredible quotes. For some reason, and partly I've been ill for the last week, so I've been a little bit delirious watching some of the anime that we've watched. I only have very disjointed recollection of this show. To
be fair, this is definitely a 4-coma show, and it's just a bunch of skits in a row.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a bit like Klutskirt from last season in its energy, I feel. Like it's chaotic in the same way. They did find an excuse to get Ryusei and Meteor in a locker together in the most recent episode.
Yep.
Because of course they did. Sorry about my little brothers. So I guess in the background of this one is how much of a good time we had with dealing with Mikadona Sisters is a breeze. This is kind of a gender reversed version of that in a way, but the energy is very different. And in my head, it's just a cozy good time. But looking back through my notes, I was like, wait, this is wild. What the hell? This girl, her mom remarries and they move in with the dad, and it turns out that the dad has 4 sons that mum didn't tell Ito about before moving them in together.
Yep.
And they're all younger than her, although the eldest is only younger than her by a day. And for some reason, the 2 eldest boys are 1.5 feet taller than her.
She is just short, and they are very tall.
They are very, very tall. And a lot of it is about them trying to figure out how to be a family, and it's very sweet. But also in the second episode, there's a plot about how Gen, the eldest brother, there are rumors that he's got an older woman girlfriend and a child. And it turns out it's just a friend of his, and he helps her run a stall at a community young mothers flea market kind of deal. But also later that episode, there's a scene where Gen makes out that he's a sexual threat to Ito and pins her to the floor and menaces her a bunch. Those are in the same episode of the same show. Tonally, it's weird. And then in the third episode, the youngest brother is like, hey, Ito, you should marry Gen when you're older. And they do a marriage roleplay with Rui as the child and Gen and Ito as the parents. It's all over the fucking chart, it's what it is.
It sure fucking is.
I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Day is actual Yuri, and it has girls kissing in every episode so far. That is progress. It's also, there is a definite element of tragedy porn to it, right? These are orphan girls. They are being prepped to fight in a war. There are deaths every day. They're constantly going to funerals. And I have a bit of a history with, tragic schoolgirl dies in a mysterious fight anime, like Iria's Sky Summer of UFOs and Saikano. Saikano, not Saekano. But, the character interactions are very charming. There's some real funny bits, like Mimi constantly calling Fran, the nurse, an old man, which Fran hates. Which is good. Wind up the nurse. She's clearly got shit going on.
She's purple. She takes double damage from teasing.
Yes, deals double damage, but also takes double damage. Yeah, I'm just I'm immediately grabbed, and it's not just the girl kissing, although that helps.
It don't hurt, though.
It sure don't hurt. Then there's Victoria of Many Faces, which must have some sort of indirect descent from Spy X Family, surely. Because it is spy, quits, and immediately adopts a girl child and starts having a very sweet relationship with a local gentleman who turns out to be a fairly major aristocrat. It's doing classic, oh, he's just a friend and kind of using me to keep the women who are genuinely interested in him at bay stuff. The thing I think adds enough spice for it to not get cloying is that when Vicky is drawing on her spy skills, she clearly just enjoys that still. In the most recent episode, she does a little bit of action hero stuff, and then she's so pumped for the next hour that she has to just go wander around town to calm down. I think that just gives it a bit of a frisson of tension.
Internal tension, at least.
Yeah.
There is some politicking going on around her, and she's just like, I just want to keep my kid safe because I adopted her.
Yeah, it's good. Enjoying it a lot. Over to you.
Yeah, the next 3 shows are shit that I'm watching. Skeleton Knight in Another World is getting a season 2. They have been doing kind of an episodic focus on small stories for now, while it gives the characters some room to breathe after setting up for the freeing more elves and beastmen from slavery plot. And I think there's going to be some ship travel in this season because they've got a vaguely pirate OP and there's a boat in it and there's a kraken fight in there. So it's just like, that's pretty cool.
Excellent.
The World's Strongest Rearguard is extremely goofy. It is exactly what it says on the tin, but it's my shit, for better or worse. And also, they've made a point of talking about some of the weird political bits of this setting, because basically the main character and a bunch of people that were on a bus that got rolled in the mountains basically got reincarnated into this specific country in this setting, which is based on becoming a seeker, which is like an adventurer, and you have to go into the dungeons. But the dungeons are like based on warp gates that take you to other existing places on the globe. And they've got they've hinted at like political problems that are caused by that, but the country is basically being run by the church and the Adventurers Guild because the people who founded it were banished. So something fucky is going on there. But this main character is just like, I want to be a rearguard, and then his whatever decides what job you get goes, okay, I'm gonna fuck up your text. You don't actually know what your class is called, but here it is. You're a rearguard now. And now if he's hanging out behind a girl, they get attached to him, which is weird. Even when he's sleeping. They have a bit where his former boss / new party member goes like, hey, can you like face away from me when you're sleeping? I keep getting this weird feeling. And he's just like, oh, fuck, the thing's active. Sorry.
Oh, switch off your auras.
Apparently he can't.
Yeah. When
you're in rearguard position, you get the buffs or nothing.
Yeah. It's like, you told me some funny stuff about that show.
And it is like a light novel that's been translated and localized officially, so I'm probably going to end up reading it, even if I don't keep with the show.
I shall look forward to that then. We watched the first few episodes of Village of Level 99 together, and then I kind of decided it wasn't for me. It's not an isekai, but you could be forgiven for thinking it was. It's post-apocalyptic in the sense of a lit RPG happened to the real world, basically. And I don't know, there's some really fun stuff in how Koji, the main character, is introduced. Eventually there's an air raid by demons on the town that they're in, and he's just like jumps up into the sky and starts one-shotting all these bird demons, which is good fun. There's a trans woman.
Yep, or close enough.
Yeah, and it's really nice for there to be an anime where there is a trans woman or close enough, indistinguishable, whatever, and nothing to do with how she is treated or framed in the anime has anything to do with why I decided the show wasn't for me. She's great.
She just really likes to punch people.
She really likes to punch people, and she's really strong, and she sometimes just throws Koji a million miles in the air so that he can take out giant eagles.
Yep. Which he lands on the eagle without killing it, which is the more impressive bit.
That too. God, it was fun. And also, like, everybody being convinced that he's got shit going on, and he just leveled a bunch.
He's just like, oh, my class is terrible, but it has great growth rates. I'm going to make this my hobby, and now I'm max level. Whoops.
Okay, so a few shows that are... These are arguably shows that are better than expected. I'm going to start with Bang Dream, YumeooMita. which is this season's Bandori show. And this one's hard to place because on the one hand, it's Bandori, and Bandori has been getting just like darker and juicier show on show for a while. But this one, the color palette, the style suggested something much lighter than Ave Mujiko, which was this sort of dark, psychological, like goth metal thing. And it turns out that no, this is a full-blown abuse and trauma story where Arale, the main character, is dealing with the trauma from having been ousted from her previous band because her childhood friend that she was in the band with attracted the attention of a girl who decided to ruin Arale's life so that she could possess Ritsu entirely to herself. It is harrowing, actually, how straightforwardly this leans into the abuse part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So far, really well carried out, but difficult to watch at times.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is the new The Ghost in the Shell anime, which there's been quite a lot of discussion about already, being like the first Ghost in the Shell adaptation that's actually true to the spirit of Masamune Shirow's manga, which is quite goofy and vibrant and sexy in a way that, the image of Gits has been much more serious and like edgy cyberpunky.
Mm-hmm.
There is straight up a lesbian orgy in the second episode of the show. It's drenched in color. The soundtrack is incredible. Like, you can't really say it had no reason to go this hard because it's fucking Ghost in the Shell, but it goes absolutely hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I'm really enjoying it. The Oblivious Satan can't contain her power. So when we talked about whether we were going to watch this or not, we talked about the fact that we've watched several shows like this, and they appeal more to me than they do to you.
Mm-hmm. It's not like they don't appeal to me. It's just like, I need something with a little more zip in it, and this didn't seem like it.
Yeah, and it doesn't quite have zip, I wouldn't say. What it does have is earnest commitment. Like, what was the last one? The one that I watched alone? I remember us talking about this, and I can't remember.
Neighboring Kingdom?
Yes. The Villainess is adored by the Prince of the Neighboring Kingdom.
That's the one.
That one really felt like it was just playing out the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
This one never does. It always feels like this is a story that somebody wants to tell that happens to follow this well-established formula.
Mm-hmm.
So in the second episode, after Carolina has arrived in her new fiance's country, someone attempts to assassinate her. And it's not just an assassination attempt. There's a whole bunch of stuff around, her bodyguard getting in trouble for how he handled it, and her being like genuinely shaken up by the threat to her life and stuff. And then there's an episode where they meet, she's got a maid, Marissa, who is also a noble lady, but is estranged from her family, basically because she's been driven out by her jealous older sister, which is also what happened to Carolina. And all the characters, including Carolina, come together to stand up for Marissa against her older sister in a really like satisfying way. Edward almost fireballs her. It's great. Like they're having this dramatic confrontation where they're like having the war of words thing, and then there's just fireball. And it kind of, having this and having Livid Lady, which is very similar in some ways. I guess the thing to say is that this is a version of the shoelace fantasy that we've talked about a few times, where the Prosperous Kingdom chucks out a character who is an important part of their prosperity because they look down on her, and then they start to disintegrate. And this and Livid Lady are both in that territory, and this one just does it better without the weird fash shit. So then there is the Insipid Princess Furtive Grab for the Throne, which as a title drains me and drains my enthusiasm every time I read it. But actually, they are building a snowball that is just starting to roll away out of control as they add more problem girls.
Yeah, pretty much.
To collude with his butler against him. So the guy lives a double life as a SSS rank adventurer, but also a prince who's regarded as a mediocrity. And in the first episode, he's basically assigned this girl, Fine, and he lasts about 10 minutes before giving the game away to her, and she's great. And then his childhood friend, who is a girl who has always picked on him for being a wuss and doesn't know that he's now an S-rank adventurer, enters the story, and she's decided that she's going to train him up to not be a wuss because he has wizard stats. So he's suffering, and it's great.
Yeah, good luck, Arnold.
I just want them to add more girls constantly.
Now you get how I feel most of the time. Anime would be be always better with more girls.
I want them to add more girls to you too.
Shut up.
That's always funny.
Who's they? We don't know.
Anyway, there is also I Became a Legend After My 10-Year Long Last Stand, and this is one of those cases where, like, to me, these two shows have very similar vibes, and you will point out all the ways in which they're different, but I do get my wires crossed between the two. Mm-hmm. The scenario here is very different, where this is a hero who was left behind for dead and learned the Drain Touch skill and sustained himself off Drain Touch while fighting demons for 10 years.
Yep, and then slurped up the demon gods, or the demon lords, like life force, and somehow regressed 10 years in age because it was that good.
Yeah. I think he regressed more than 10 years, right? Because he now looks younger than he did when he was
true.
in the prologue. Anyway, he goes back to civilization having won and slain the Demon King and whatever. And he is remembered as the valiant sacrifice, and there's a giant statue for him, and the two guys he was adventuring with have become nobles and super rich and so on. One of them is the king. And they have to just kind of deal with this and figure out how he's going to reintegrate into society. And he can't get enough of adventuring, so he just starts adventuring.
They give him a new class. He just starts over as a swordsman instead.
That's true, actually. But with the Demon King's sword and also still all his magic from being a blue mage who fought the entirety of hell.
Yeah.
And he's basically, like, mentoring junior adventurers of one stripe or another. One of whom is Jita from Grand Blue.
Not really, but her name is Ginny, so it's close enough.
And also she looks a lot like Jita.
She sure does.
At one point, she prays to the giant statue of him without realizing that it's him.
Yup.
And his buddy, one of his buddies, has a daughter now who becomes convinced that Luck is her illegitimate half brother.
Yup.
And she's really in on that idea.
She is so in on it that she gets told that he is the sage that he's trying to pretend not to be, and she still goes, does that mean Luck is my half-brother? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And he finally just comes out with the entirety of it, just so she will stop making this mistake. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. And then they have to fight vampires to protect a sacred chicken.
Yup. That also happens. I love this show.
It really does. It's good.
And adjacent to that is From Overshadowed to Overpowered, which is certainly a show. It's about a guy who basically dies after realizing that he wasn't actually naturally talented with any elemental affinity, but he still ended up being like one of the preeminent leaders of magic in his time.
Uh-huh.
And he gets reincarnated in the same world, and in the process of reincarnating, he remembers that he was reincarnated from our world and got given a gift by the goddess, which was basically really being hard-headed about stuff. So when he failed at something, he only came back with more determination to get through it. And that's how he was, despite not being good at magic by the metrics of this world, he ended up being one of the best because he was just like, I'm gonna fucking figure this out, god damn it. But yeah, he remembers that he reincarnated once after he reincarnates the second time. And when he reincarnates the second time, he still has access to basically all of his magic skill, including the spell that he created and is named after him, which is like a level 9 or 10 spell. Uh-huh. But magic in this world, in this like new age, only basically goes up to like level 5 or 6, and that's with like multiple casters working together. So he wants to be a magic swordsman, and that's what's happening. Also, in his first reincarnation, he rescued a demon girl, and she was like under his tutelage, and she's still around and teaching at the magic school that he's going to. I can't wait to find out how that's going to shake out. He's also like saved a different demon girl from slavery and is teaching her now too. And there's a lot of art in the ending of them like teaching him and his old student teaching her together, and it's cute.
Aww. That does sound good.
I hope it's cool.
Yeah. Right. Final category of shows, those that have punched above what we were expecting from them in positive ways. So there's Kaiju Girl Caramelise, which, man, this show rules.
It's real good.
It's so good. It's like just perfect pacing and energy. At its heart, it's not really a rom-com. It's a romance and a comedy stuck together.
Yeah.
Because the romance is this really sweet kind of Kimi ni Todoroki style weird girl, popular boy romance. Just the problem is that Kuroe turns into a kaiju when she's too emotional, positive or negative.
Yep.
And then there is this girl, Manatsu, who is so horny for kaiju and is desperate to marry the kaiju.
Yup. It was really funny because we were like watching the entire first episode and she's like, oh, no one will want to love me when I'm a giant monster. And we were both like, don't worry, there's monster fuckers out there. Episode 2, the monster fucker arrives.
She sure does.
Perfect.
Oh, she's great. I love her. I also love the mom. Like, Kuroe's mom has some shit going on. She is very, like, the impression we have, and I did, as I was, like, prepping today, I unfortunately saw something that suggests this isn't the case, but, like, the impression that we got was she must be, like, an ex-magical girl or something.
Yeah.
She very much, although this isn't quite an archetype, she very much gives off the vibe of what the archetype would be if there was an archetype for magical girl who has grown up and become a mom.
It definitely feels like she hits the note of cool mom.
Yeah.
While also being like, in a world where magical girls probably exist if kaiju do.
Yeah.
Like,
speaking of cool moms, my stepmother and stepsisters aren't evil. This show literally just has one joke, which is this, like, Cinderella girl is adopted into a noble family after her mother dies. She's been growing up in poverty because she's illegitimate. Her father's household take her in, and the father's household is terrifying, scary, like, strict-looking old mom and 2 princess-type daughters, and she's expecting to be bullied and hazed and everything. And actually, they love her and they adore her and they really want to spoil her.
And they're really mad at their dad for not fucking bringing her into the family sooner.
Yeah. And every 3 minutes is a build-up to some moment where Mia or some other person thinks that they have given terrible offense to these terrifying women, and it does a huge dramatic build-up and like sinister art and shit, and then it flips the switch, and it's another love bomb. It's great. Every time it gets me. It's just so funny.
Yeah. Add it to the list of Becky laugh triggers, along with, this too is Yuri, empty frame, labeling things, and crabs.
Shut up. And frogs.
I love you so much.
Shut up.
Frogs are also good.
Then there is Heroine, Saint, No, I'm an All-Works Maid and proud of it, which... This might be the show this season. Like, it's a story about a maid who does everything. Great. Good fun. Melody, very powerful maid. Also, it is such a good spin on isekai, because the whole bit is she's been isekai'd, and she's delighted to be isekai'd because this is a world that has maids, so she can be a maid. But unbeknownst to her, she has been isekai'd into the role of the protagonist in an otome game. And there are 2 other people who've been isekai'd into this world, and they know the game. Melody doesn't know the game because she has literally all her life only cared about being a maid, so she only knows about maid shit. But these 2 other characters are like desperately searching for, where the hell is the protagonist of the game? We needed to be here so that the plot can happen.
Yeah, the funniest thing is it's revealed that all 3 of them met on the plane that crashed and killed them all.
Yes.
When they got isekai'd.
Yeah.
It's especially funny because they were going on like a pilgrimage for some fucking thing from the game. Like, sure, why are you going to America? This does imply that it's an American-made otome game.
Or that it's set in America.
It's not, though. We know that.
It's definitely not, no. But yeah, and like, Melody is also, she gets a job as a maid for this impoverished noble lady Luciana, and transforms Luciana's fortunes overnight through the sheer power of maid magic and the ability to make 1 million clones of herself, which is great. But because Melody is a protagonist, all the protagonist stuff is closing in on her, and she's just trying to be a maid, and I can't wait for the bomb to go off.
There might be a literal one. We don't know at this point.
I mean, there was in the Gorilla God's Go-To Girl.
That's so true.
A couple left. Dara-san of the Reiwa Era, which... Like, this is a fun, goofy show about 2 kids who find an evil spirit who has been trapped to serve as the goddess of the mountain and so on, and they, like, keep her company and befriend her and stuff. Great, fine, lot of fun. The thing that is wild about this show is that the two kids are a boy and a girl, but the girl who is the elder is trans mask, and the boy who is the younger is trans femme, and basically everyone is fine with it and supportive, and it keeps finding fun ways to be funny about it. Like, you know, there's that meme floating around of like right-wing comedians complain that you can't say anything funny about trans people, and then you hear anybody who's trans supportive make comedy about trans people, and it's hilarious. This show is that, and I don't know how we got here, and I don't know why whoever, like Haruomi Tomotsuka, the mangaka for this, was like, yeah, I'm going to just make the two protagonist kids of this show trans, but sure did.
You can just do that. You can write whatever you want.
This is the most you can write whatever you want show. Ye gods. And finally, there is The Forsaken Saintess and her Foodie road trip in another world, which is a second lesson after a wild last boss appears in the importance of putting a camper van in your isekai. You should always put a camper van in your isekai. Surely you will not regret putting a camper van in your isekai. It's just fun.
It's also a foodie anime that has enough going on that it's not throwing you off either.
Yeah. Well, it's really fun because Rin gets isekai'd and she gets brought into this party that is led by a fucking Dante. And then there's a priest character that we haven't had much detail on the priest character yet, but then there's also a married couple in the party, Ed and Arya. And Ed is such a wife guy, and Arya is so
hungry.
Arya is so hungry and loves Rin so much for her cooking, and Rin is so gay for Arya.
It's bisexual panic attack constantly in this girl's head.
It's so good. The vibes are immaculate in this show.
And we're going to meet the cat next episode. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, Watching That Right is a project of Slimebook Productions. Intro and outro music is by me, graphics by Val, and this episode was edited by Numinous. You can find us on Blue Sky at slimebook.bsky.social, YouTube at youtube.com/slimebookproductions, Patreon at patreon.com/slimebookproductions. Download all episodes from Libsyn at slimebook.pro, and join our Discord by the link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may anime neither betray nor disappoint you.